this is Samantha Stone. Welcome to Today in Woburn. And today we have Mayor Scott Galvin with us and a very special guest that many of you know, Joe Brown, our favorite Woburn photographer. And we're going to chat with him as well today. So super excited to be back from a couple of nice days up north and ready to be home and back in Woburn. Hi, Scott. How you doing?
Good, Samantha. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
So I thought we could start today just talking a little bit about COVID. I know it's a topic we all want to go away, but there are, new strains and some concerns around increasing transmissions, not so much in Woburn, but in other parts of the state and certainly other parts of the country. And I just wanted to check in and see if there's anything you're keeping an eye on or anything that we should be thinking about from a city perspective.
Yeah, same thing as everybody else is. We're watching this and seeing how the numbers start increasing with the Delta variant and how it's affecting Woburn, and how the state and the, I say this, the state and the CDC start using the same type of metrics to determine community transmission. Like it's important to know, how is it actually affecting us on the ground? And like I've told you in the past, every week we chat a little bit about it. Cases have been going up. So we're concerned about it. A couple of people that I know personally, and you probably know them too, it's not uncommon, who have had the vaccine, whether it's Johnson and Johnson or one of the other two, have actually come down with COVID. So it's concerning. The good news is that they have rather mild, conditions and symptoms, which is what the vaccine was meant for, to lessen those the impacts of the disease. So that's the good news. But as the other one goes, more people are getting it. So we have to make sure we're messaging this properly. And if there's one thing we learned from the COVID last time is that everyththing changes. It's always changing, and you have to adapt to different circumstances. So something that we're not doing or we are doing now, we may be either not doing it or not doing it in the future. So we'll keep moving forward, keep an eye on the numbers, and keep going.
Yeah, thank you for that.
The bottom line is everybody needs to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated unless you have those strong religious beliefs or health reasons. You need to get vaccinated.
Yeah, that certainly is our best option. I do know one person who was vaccinated and did it, but they had gotten COVID. They don't live in Woburn. Just if anybody's already doing the math, trying to figure out who I'm talking about, you won't be able to figure it out. They don't live here, but there is. But they had COVID several months ago. They were hospitalized the first time around. This time around, they had a very mild case. They stayed home to make sure they didn't infect anyone else. But luckily, this was more of a cold-like experience for them with the vaccination. So hopefully that will prove true for lots of people. Great. I know that as a mayor, you don't make the decision about masks in schools. That's done through DESE and the school committee and things. But that is a topic that I know people are thinking about, particularly for students who are not eligible for the vaccine, who are, under 12. And I didn't know if you had any thoughts or requests or wishes or knowledge that you wanted to share with the community about that.
I'm in contact with Matt Crowley all the time. We had this discussion last week, and again, things change, Samantha, but as it stands right now, the most important thing, and again, I want to stress this, the most important thing is that the kids be in school full time, and the masks right now, if you're vaccinated, and again, things change, but if you happen to have the vaccine, I think it's, you shouldn't have to wear a mask, but that the recommendations could possibly change before school. And, I think that if you've been vaccinated, at this point that you shouldn't have to wear a mask. Again, that seems to change on a weekly basis. But my most important message is that kids need to be in school full time, no hybrid, no remote. It needs to be kids in school full time.
I think every parent wants their kids in school. Now, some people may have conditions where it doesn't make sense for them. They'll have to work through what is best for their family and their students, of course. But I think we all learned many challenges, and it was really hard. The hybrid environment in particular, I think, was really hard for a lot of families. So,
And again, I think it's, you'd like them to be there without masks, but if you gave a parent the choice between, staying home or wearing a mask, I'd say 100% of them say, I want my kids in school. And if that means wearing a mask, I want them in there.
Yeah. I think most students probably feel that way too. I know there's a lot of complexities, and I know we don't have answers yet, but thanks for sharing kind of an update. I know you've been talking with Matt and team about that. I know that participation in the vaccine clinics been relatively slow the last couple of times. Do we anticipate continuing them, or is that something that we're going to stop at this point?
It was extremely slow, and as we talked about the last clinic, it was down to 3 people. We're going to put it on hold for a while. If we have a demand, we certainly would reinstitute it at City Hall. And there are plenty of places now for people to get the vaccine, CVS, at their healthcare provider, and so we're here. But right now, when you get 3 people over 2 hours, it just wasn't worth it. And we were giving out $30 gift cards, and so right now, Samantha, we're not doing it, but we're ready to start up if the demand gets there. And maybe, we had talked, Matt and I had talked about doing a clinic at the school, so the middle school and high school. And he actually put out a survey to 300 people, and, to see if we had a clinic, would you be interested? And less than half of them said that they would be interested. So we're going to kind of see how those numbers change. I think as we get closer to school, and depending on what's happening with the transmission in the community, I think we'll see more of a demand for vaccine for unvaccinated. And also we're waiting again for the change in the age group, which will really help too, to allow those under 12 to get vaccinated. That I think that'll help a lot too.
Yeah, I think that will be great when that's available to us. I'm not sure that there's any timelines announced, but that will certainly help make decisions for families a lot easier. I'm sure. Excellent. Thanks for those updates. I saw a note, I think Jeff Dillon had shared with a little bit of an update on the Pemberton School, and there was still work being done to try and figure out how to move records. I didn't know if there was anything that you wanted to share on that.
Really.
Okay.
Nothing at this point.
Okay. Sounds good. I know there was kind of a funny the hydrant flushing that's been going on. I think one of the announcements went out this last one a little, maybe not the best timing. But hey, some people woke up a little early. They know their water was flushing. They sure remembered getting it. That's for sure.
That's right.
But the good news is, I think this was the last session. If I looked at time of the schedule, this was scheduled to be the last flushing that was happening this cycle time.
So flushing is really important. Aside from that, the error that was made, and a little unfortunate for those people who got the call. I agree. I certainly wouldn't have wanted to get it. People who did call, we apologized to them, and they understood. But the flushing serves a really important purpose for our water system. So I'm happy that our guys have been persistent in that and doing a good job for the water system.
Yep. Yeah, it's really an important piece of keeping everything available. So that's great. I saw on the website that there was a meeting for the Cedar Street Ramp Committee, and I'm sure that lots of people know what that is, but I actually had no idea what it was. So I'm being nosy and I'm asking Scott, what is that group mission?
So the Cedar Street Ramp it's over off of Washington Street on the road towards BJ's, and this has been circulating for probably 10 or 15 years, and it became more prominent when they had the big clover leaf design over there to alleviate the congestion at 93 and 128. And one of the temporary solutions while they were doing this work was to add a slip ramp, which would be at the end, which would take some of the traffic off the Washington Street Bridge area, the Washington Street area. And this has come again because a couple business owners in that area, Bill Cummings and Cummings Property and a few others, Kelly Nissan, and a number of them over there are interested in seeing this ramp. And I shouldn't say, let me take back Kelly Nissan. I think they were one of them. Primarily it's Cummings Property. So let's just leave it at Cummings Property has been the driving force behind this. And they've donated, they've given us a grant for $125,000 to pursue a justification study. It needs to go through the federal highway, state highway, Mass DOT. So we've got an engineer on board doing the design work and convincing them that it meets their standards to allow for the ramp to go on, which would help with traffic over the Washington Street area. The committee's led by Alderman Darlene Bruin from Ward 5, John Casey, who's a businessman, and Brian McCurry from Cummings Property, who's an engineer. And they're just working on outreach with the community and also really being the liaison between the community, myself, and the engineering outfit to get this moving forward.
Awesome. I forget how long infrastructure projects some takes.
And
this is a good example of that, right?
Well, on the flip side, I think I'm compelled to let you know that the New Boston Street Bridge, which has been a labor and an intense labor effort, the fruits of our work are coming to a conclusion now, and this is something that we're getting a $25 million grant from the state. The state is going to pay for this ramp, which is going to help with traffic down on Commerce Way and New Boston Street and make that whole area a driver for the economics down there, an economic driver. And, we're really proud of the work that's been done to get to this point. And everybody will tell you, well, it's never going to get done. And it has taken quite a while. I've been mayor for 12 years. And I think I'd like to take a lot of credit from our position getting on the MPO, which is where they dole out that money. And, our representative, Tina Cassidy, has worked tirelessly along with Jay Corey, the city engineer, Ellen Doucette, the city solicitor, and also our consultant, VHB. And this is coming to fruition. We're about to send down the pro tanto notices, which are basically for the land taking, the final step. And again, it's a massive win for the city. $25 million that we're getting from the federal government, $25 million to construct a bridge. It's going to be an economic engine for that area. So I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of the work of our department heads and sticking with this for, well over 12 years to get there. So,
yeah.
Great story. Another
that
great
feels
story.
Good. That must feel really good.
Great story for the city is what I want to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that update. I think that is important. I think it isn't, these things, we're competing with a lot of people when we compete for grants and projects like this.
Yeah.
There's lots and lots of communities who are competing for that. So congratulations to the team. That is not an easy effort to secure. So that's great.
They're at about the 1 yard line. So it's pretty close.
We'll keep all of our fingers crossed to make sure that nothing changes that way, but that's great. I love to see that. Good. Excellent. Well, thank you, Scott. Those are all my questions. Anything else that you want to add before I start chatting with Joe?
No, that's good. Thanks, Samantha. I think we'll have a little bit more information on some stories for you next week. Great. And we'll talk then.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hey,
Thanks,
welcome, Joe. I'm so excited that you are in front of instead of behind the camera today.
Yeah, this is a little different from me.
Well, I think everybody in Woburn probably knows who you are, just like most of us know who Captain Jack Sparrow is. I think you have the same sort of Woburn celebrity, but just in case those folks who haven't yet met you don't recognize the face with the name, you do some incredible photography work in the city. And you're really, you're sort of that go-to person of, what's happening in the city. Ask Joe. Joe's gonna know. How did you get started? Like, how did this become your career and your work?
So I graduated Woburn High School, class of 1983. And to be honest with you, I was going to go into the Coast Guard Academy, but I failed the eyesight exam. And this this is ironic, isn't it, that I end up choosing a career which I use my eyes. And I'd always taken pictures, all from the sixth grade. Now I went to the Tarkey, but I spent 1 day a week at the Alta Vista. It was a weird, old-fashioned class that they had, and the teacher at the Alta Vista gave me a camera one day and said, "Do a report on it," and that just sparked the. We all have a teacher, no matter what, that we've all loved and that have all had a huge impact on us. Well, that teacher at the Alta Vista was a huge impact on my life. And ever since that day, I carried a camera with me everywhere. So going all through Woburn High School. And then when I couldn't go into the Coast Guard Academy. I was working down at the camera store in Melrose. And one day, just out of the blue, a gentleman came in and said, "Hey, you live in Woburn. I'm looking for a photographer to help me out with some newspaper work." And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it. What do you need?" And I had my first assignment a week later, and it, in a weird kind of way, it just took off from there. And here we are 34 years later, and I'm still working for the Woburn paper, but I'm working for a lot of other papers also.
I love that. That is like everything about that is amazing, right? So you had this teacher that inspired you, and you had sort of this meeting that got you on the career. And we're really lucky that they did, and that you stick with it. As a freelance photographer, how do you decide what to photograph? Because there's a lot going on all the time, and you work for multiple papers. How do you figure out where you want to be and when?
Mostly it's up to the editors. They call and I get assignments. So every day, every morning, throughout the day, really, the phone rings, or nowadays it's text messages. And I get requested to say, can you cover this baseball game? Can you go to this city council meeting? And again, it could be Woburn, it could be Burlington, it could be Winchester, it could be Salem, Massachusetts. It doesn't matter to me. I work for, like I say, about 10 different newspapers at this point. So it's nice to be busy, which I am. And the other part of it is, if I'm driving down the street and I see something, that's the other part. It's kind of an experience type of thing where, one thing that always gets people is we've always told in the newspaper business is kids and dogs, or kids and animals go wonderful. Everybody loves to see that. The lemonade stands, everybody loves a lemonade stand. So I love to hear from them. I love when people call me and say, "Hey, Joe, the kids are having a Jimmy Fund lemonade stand," or they're having a little car wash or a book sale. I love those things. I really do. So it's kind of a half and half. And then I guess I should say a third, and a third, because the other third is the police radio. Everybody knows I post all of the big events. There's a lot more that happens in Woburn that's every day. But some of the bigger events, or the big traffic events, we do have traffic in the town, like everywhere. We're not unique in that regard. So when I hear something, if I think it's worth it, or I think it's going to be a bigger problem for a lot of people, I will post it.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. And there was a run of telephone pole accidents in Wires Town, right? I don't know why they all seem to come together all of a sudden, but but we're grateful.
I should say that we always say, but at least in the fire service and a lot of times in the police service, they say that things happen in threes. So if you get 3 car wrecks, you get 3 in a row. 3 fires, I hate to say, you get 3 in a row. And for some reason, the telephone pole thing worked out. Yes, there were 3 in a row. There was Revere Road up by my house. There was Cambridge Road on Friday was closed for about 6 hours because a bunch of wires down. And then Beach Street also. So
we're grateful because I avoided those areas when I see your posts. So I know to stay away. Tell me, what are you photograph lots of cities, but all over Woburn. What's your favorite part of Woburn to photograph? Is there anything that sort of draws you back time and time again?
Truthfully, no, there isn't. I love it all. I love my city. Again, I was adopted, so I was brought here at 11 months old, and I still in the house I was born and basically, as I say, born and brought up in. But I was still here in this house I bought from my parents. And no, I love Woburn. All sections of Woburn are wonderful. There's no one section to me that stands out better than any other. Like I say, I just love it.
Well, I love seeing families who stay in their home, their childhood homes. It's super fun. I am a transplant to Woburn, a longtime transplant. Now this is definitely home, and I've definitely raised my kids here. But I wasn't originally from here, and I just love when I see families who's grew up in the house they're in, or in a neighborhood house not far down the way, and it's kind of fun to explore those histories together.
Yep. No, I've raised my 3 kids here. As a matter of fact, I have my daughter will be a senior at Woburn High School this year. So as you had spoke with the mayor about COVID, I'm hoping that she has a good senior year. Like I remember my senior year was with dances and proms and all of the things that make a senior year beyond just going to school. There's a lot more to it.
Absolutely. I think my most vivid memory is for my now 23-year-old who had a manhunt with water guns in senior year, sort of an unofficial senior activity. I don't think it was an official one, but it was a blast. And I have never seen them set the alarm so early in the morning so they could leave the house and go prepare to get their target. So
Yeah.
it's a
I was in
ton
the high
of
school
fun.
band back in the day when the band was 250 people. We had huge marching bands and we
Wow.
performed every high school game. Before the game, we did a show, halftime, we did a show, post game, we did a show. We competed. Back then, it was a little bit different than it is now. And I'm not saying any better or worse, but I'm just saying different.
Yeah.
And I had a ball with the band. I was in the choir. We traveled all over the place. It was, I still tell even other kids, high school is what you make of it. So if you can make it your own good experience, go for it. I understand everybody doesn't do that, but that's just my bringing up. So.
Well, that is a wonderful, those are wonderful memories. I know you love history too, because you're a Revolutionary War reenactor, if I'm correct.
I am.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm
So
with the
this was a
Charlestown-
tough year, right? Because most
Yeah,
things were
haven't
closed down.
Yeah, it's been a good year and a half. We haven't really done much. My group I'm with is not so much of a marching group as it is a living history group where we set up tables and we talk about different aspects of what happened here sitting here in Woburn, we would have been in Charlestown back in the day. So what happened in the Charlestown area, Charlestown basically went all the way up to where Bill Rickett is now. So we like to teach. In my group, we have a gunsmith, we have a bookseller, we have a minister, we have a seamstress. So we can talk about the various life aspects of what happened in 1775.
That's very cool. My husband is a Civil War reenactor, so not the same time period, but certainly have been fortunate enough to go to a lot of historical events and meet and speak with people who, it's a tremendous amount of work and history and learning you do to sort of get in those characters and teach us all about it. So that's great.
Yeah. My wife thought it was funny that when I started this 10 years ago, I learned how to sew. So I could sew my own clothing. So here I am, at that point, basically a 50-year-old guy learning to sew his own stockings.
I love it. I cannot say the same. My husband turns the badges over to me, which I am not a great seamstress. So it looks as if it was done in the field. I'm very authentic in looking incomplete and not well done.
Yeah, realistic is fine.
That's
Neither
right.
I don't claim any. No, I'm not very good at it either, but I try my best. So that's all we can do, right?
I love it. Well, Joe, you are such a sort of fixture in our community, and we're so lucky to have you. I think most of us feel like we know you a little bit, but tell us something that many of us might not know about you.
I was thinking about that when you sent me that email earlier today, and it said that I might ask this question. I got to tell you, I don't know what to say. I will say this, and this might surprise people. I don't know if it does or not, but in my lifetime, I acknowledge that I have 3 women that I call mom. My biological mother, my foster mother, and my mother, my adoptive mother. And I'm very fortunate in my life to be able to do that. And just met my biological mother just 2 years ago. And after
exciting.
a huge search with the assistance of a professional genealogist here in Woburn, and she helped me find my biological family. And it's been one of the greatest things of my life. So people are kind of surprised. Wow, 3 moms? Yeah, I do. I have 3 moms.
Well, isn't that wonderful? I mean, really, like that is a gift. And I love that you were able to find your birth family and celebrate all 3 families. Are you in touch with your foster family as well? Or is that something you've been able to maintain? I know sometimes that's hard to do.
I am. Unfortunately, they've passed away at this point. My foster mother and foster father passed away over the past few years, I would say. And the Browns, my parents also have passed away at this point. So unfortunately, the only one who's really alive at this point is my biological mother. She's in her 80s, and that's okay. And she lives close. So she still lives here in Eastern Massachusetts. So I get to go down and see her. She lives in closer to Boston. So I do get to go see her. And she also had a son who I've become very friendly with. And he's married and has 3 daughters. So I get to be an uncle again, which I was never an uncle. Again, I know this isn't photography, but this is it's life.
This is Joe. We love this. This is great. What a great experience. Thank you for sharing that with us, because I think it's really fun to get to know the people behind all that important work that happens, especially when you're behind the camera. Sometimes we don't always get to know who's there. So that's awesome. I know I've been very fortunate. Many of the events that I've participated, you're always there with the camera, and so welcoming to everybody and generous with your time. I think that's Great. For those folks who are maybe hosting event or got a lemonade stand going on, is it best to get in touch with you and maybe editorial at the paper, or just get in touch with you? Like, what do you advise people to do if they want to promote something they've got going on?
At this point, just get in touch with me directly through Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. It's Joe Brown
Right.
Photos, basically on everything. You can always search Joe Brown Woburn. I do have a website that'll come up too with contact information, but I can't promise I'm going to make every single event. That's the thing. I do have a life like we all do.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to try. And the more notice I get, the better. But I always tell people, if you forget and that morning you say, oh, geez, we're having that lemonade stand, still call me, because you never know.
Right.
That's the joy of being freelance is I'm not on a set schedule. I work pretty much.
Right.
I mean, I do sleep, although people have accused me before. I do sleep, and I do sleep well because I have a secret weapon with that. But I still tell people, call me anyway, and I'll do my best to get there.
What's your secret weapon for sleep? Because I need it.
I have sleep apnea, and I wear a machine to bed every night. So what happens is when I go to bed, I put the machine on. I'm asleep in 30 seconds to a minute. And then I sleep for between 4 and 5, sometimes 6 hours, and I'm done. And I'm up for the rest of the day. I go right into that, as they call it, REM sleep. So I literally go right into REM. And within that minute, maybe 2 minutes, I'm into that deep, refreshing sleep again because of the machine. I've had the machine for a long time, since just after I got married. And it's been, to me, it's been a quality of life issue. It's fantastic. I've had surgery to try and correct my sleep apnea, but it just didn't work. So for me, I'm one of those who the machine is just wonderful. It's not intrusive at all. I take it with me when I travel. It's just wononderful. So,
well, I have to admit, I'm a little jealous. I'm a tosser and turner. I can go for quite a while before I fall asleep. So that's fantastic, Joe. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing a little bit about your work, but also a little bit about who you are. We're so lucky to have you in Woburn. Honestly, it's really great, and we're so glad. And I know we've got a lot going on in the fall, and Horn Pound concert series are coming up, and we've had at least one of them. I think we got another one coming up on Friday. And
Friday was a good one. The Apathetics, they were really good. They were a really good kind of soft rock band. I want to say, I don't know if it even, they played like Bob Seger, and they played like current, like, I don't know, rock and roll, I guess, but it wasn't like metal rock, but they were fantastic. The 4 guys up on the trailer, it was nice. So, awesome. And the city does a great job with that Ice House Park, making it clean, making it accessible. It was very nice. So there's an Irish band coming. I'm a big Irish fan. I love bagpipes. I love Irish music. So they're coming, I guess, the middle of August. There's an Irish band coming. So you'll definitely see me there.
I love it. Well, I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Joe. And for those of you who are watching, as always, please continue to take good care of each other.